the best device for my mycotoxin brain and body mitochondria energy recovery. Oh boy. So the mycotoxin brain is very challenging to deal with. The problem is, once they're in the brain, they're very hard to get out. The same thing happens with mercury or heavy metal toxicities or viruses. So anything that's causing chronic inflammation in the brain, what you're dealing with more than anything is basically just quieting down the inflammation in the brain. Again, you may not be able to get rid of it. And sometimes it's not the toxin, it's not the fungal infection that's causing the problem. It's the toxin that the fungi release. And bacteria can release toxins as well. And those toxins then are neuroinflammatory and can cause immune reactions as well on top of them. And so what happens then is that, again, the goal here then becomes just quieting down the brain, quieting down the inflammation in the brain. And so I talked about that earlier. Magnetic field therapy can be very helpful for that, but you also need to use other approaches. You may need IV therapy because the blood-brain, you have to pass through the blood-brain barrier to impact the inflammation in the brain. So IV vitamin C, IV glutathione, IV alpha-lipoic acid. In some cases, ozone therapy can be very helpful, but certainly anti-inflammatories, C, ALA, and glutathione IV to be able to get into the brain. And if you do a few courses of those and then combine that with magnetic field therapy, then again, you're going to be rolling down the road much faster in terms of getting recovery. Nevertheless, this is a long-term process. How long does it take to reduce inflammation in the brain? Your body will tell you. Nobody can tell you how long it's going to take, but at least you start. And you have to start with the right intensity magnetic field and going low and slow to make sure that your brain can handle it. So you need to be treating the brain directly. Transcranial magnetic stimulation. And transcranial magnetic stimulation has been found to be extraordinarily safe, even using magnetic systems. So now there are FDA-approved machines for treating depression, PEMF machines for treating depression, treatment-resistant depression. They're using magnetic systems that are strong enough that when you stimulate over the part of the brain that controls muscle function in the body, they stimulate that part of the brain, and you can get thumb contractions. They stimulate to the point where you actually get a contraction in your thumb. They're not stimulating the thumb, they're stimulating the part of the brain that causes the muscle movement. And they stimulate at or above the level that causes the thumb. Now, they don't stimulate there continually. They now pick a part of the brain, like the front part of the brain or the back or other areas that will actually give the magnetic field action deeper into the brain. So those devices at that level of intensity have been found to be extraordinarily safe. So most of the magnetic systems that most of you are likely to purchase are going to be safe enough. I have three systems that I would consider for treating the brain under those circumstances if you're willing to make that investment. One is the Tesla Fitpro, which I don't recommend too often. That's more of a professional machine. And you have significant intensity control, and you have about 8,000 Gauss that you can work with. The next is the Tesla Fit Duo, which is still pretty expensive. And that allows you to treat two parts of the brain at the same time. And that has an intensity of about 5,000 Gauss. The Tesla Fit Plus has an intensity of about 5,000 Gauss. So a magnetic system of about 5,000 Gauss will be able to deliver 15 Gauss at about 7 inches into the brain. 7 inches. So it'll go right through the brain from front to back. And you want to deliver the magnetic field throughout the entire brain. So if you use two coils, you don't need as much intensity side to side. Front to back, again, the head's longer front to back, so you need to have enough magnetic field intensity to treat the entire brain. So for mycotoxins, that's what you really need to do. Mitochondria. PEMF therapy increases ATP production. The PEMF therapy stabilizes the cells and helps the cells to detoxify. it increases the energy production within the cell itself. If you can increase ATP production in the cell itself, then the cell is going to be healthier. But you want a healthy cell in the first place. Cells that are damaged or inflamed are not healthy. Magnetic field therapy helps those cells to open up the channels, the membrane channels, which I've discussed in other webinars, previous webinars in this series. Then you need to be able to heal those cells. Once the cells close up and become more normal, then the mitochondria become more normal. Whole body PEMF therapy is necessary to deal with mitochondria throughout the body. If you're just dealing with the brain, then the localized magnetic field therapy will work very well to increase mitochondrial performance in the brain itself. Now, mitochondria also, we have a simplistic perception that if I do a therapy session there, I fix my mitochondria. Not going to happen. The mitochondria are constantly working, constantly. We turn over every ATP molecule in the body 200 to 500 times per day. We create our body weight in mitochondria every day. It's not all happening at one time, but over the day, we essentially create our body weight in ATP. So ATP turns over very rapidly. So I stimulate you now, we've got ATP working for a while. How long? It's hard to know, but it's not going to be 10 hours. It's more likely to be 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe even 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how much ATP is needed. And the more inflammation you have in the body, the areas where you have inflammation, there's a huge amount of demand for ATP. So that benefit for ATP production in that area of inflammation is going to last as long as the ATP isn't used up. When it's used up, then you need to generate some more. So that's why people who talk about magnetic therapy being something that you can do for 8 minutes, give me a break. 8 minutes for bone healing, for healing non-union fractures, which I've talked about before. Those magnetic systems are used upwards of 12 hours a day. So, and that's safe enough. It's not environmental magnetic fields, the high intensity, the high frequency magnetic fields like cell phones, which are dangerous. ELF PEMFs, extremely low frequency PEMFs, which I use, are very, very safe. So you can use them for hours at a time. And that's what you may need at the beginning. So you have to have a magnetic therapy system that's going to allow you to do treatments over extended periods of time. At the beginning, as you heal yourself, you could decrease the total amount of treatment time as you're healing, but it depends on healing. It's not about your symptoms, it depends on healing. The problem is that the challenge that we always have as physicians is to figure out how much time do you need to heal? And you're going to find that out by virtue of cutting back on your treatment. If you cut back on the treatment and the problem comes back, the symptoms come back, then you know you still need to do more treatment time. The brain heals very slowly. So you're probably going to have to be treating for a long time to heal the brain to make sure the problem doesn't come back, or to keep it away for longer periods of time. So maybe only once a day treatments are all you need. And no matter what, we probably should be doing once a day anyway, even from an ATP perspective.